Hey everybody, welcome back to Miami Minute on Wicked Good Sports, where we cover my favorite team, the Miami Dolphins. And the Dolphins defeated the Texans 32-15 to move their record to 8-3, best start in 24 years, and move back into first place in the AFC East, which of course is almost or maybe as important. I'm very excited to talk about this game, which really was a game of two halves. First half, the Dolphins jumped out to a 30-0 lead. If you're a Dolphins fan, a longtime Dolphins fan like me, this is a pretty insane score. Not something we're particularly used to, especially not the last few years, where it seemed that we had to fight and claw to score anywhere near this amount of points for the entire game, let alone in a half. So really just a great first half for the Dolphins. They took Tua and the other starters on the offense out near the beginning of the second half, a little bit into the third quarter, after a couple of mostly ineffective drives, and Tua gets sacked a couple more times. So I understand that, and I'm fine with that. So they scored 30 in the first half, and then that's all they scored for the whole game. But that's okay. Rather have our playmakers stay healthy. And especially with the sack that Tua took right before the second half, where they had to rush and spike it to get 1 second left to get that field goal. It was extremely awkward. It looked scary in the moment. I think I may have audibly went, oh no, because I was expecting like Tua to potentially be injured, just the way he got kind of rolled up under and like bent back. Fortunately, that wasn't the case, but I saw the season flash before my eyes. And really, I'm sure I'm not alone there. I think most Dolphins fans had a mini panic attack at that. So Tua, for his part, went 22 of 36 for 299 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Almost had 300 yards again, but we'll take it. It's fine. On the ground, Jeff Wilson added 39 yards on 13 carries and a touchdown, with Myles Gaskins filling in for Raheem Mostert, adding 17 on 6 carries. Tyreek Hill led the way with 6 receptions for 85 yards. Jalen Waddle had 5 for 85. Again, their numbers are obviously going to be a little less than they would have been had the Dolphins had their foot on the gas for the entirety of the game. I want to give a shout out to River Carcraft. He had a solid game, 4 receptions, 55 yards. And of course, Durham Smythe had the 1 touchdown from Tua, which was a play that apparently didn't go how it was supposed to, but Tua was able to improvise and find Smythe for the touchdown. Unfortunately, Mike Gesicki had no receptions and no yards, obviously. He did have 1 pass that went to him in the back of the end zone, but it was knocked down. So what are you going to do? Every week, it's a roller coaster to see how Gesicki's going to do, but that's all right. The defense, they really were the stars, especially in the first half, but they closed the game out as well with Landon Roberts, Jalen Phillips, Jerome Baker, Duke Riley, and Bradley Chubb all having a sack. Andrew Van Ginkel had an interception, and Vernon McKinley III. We're at random ass Civil War name sounding defensive backs, but hey, he sealed the game with an interception. Eric Rowe forced a fumble that Xavier Howard ran back for a touchdown. So really excellent job. And I know there were moments in this game where it looked a little choppy. The Texans did put up 15 points and looked like maybe they were going to mount a comeback, but the last field goal came with 9 minutes left in the game, and the defense really stiffened up after that. They weren't helped very much by the offense in the second half. Skyler, I think, went 1 of 5. They weren't getting first downs. They're going 3 and out, I think 3 times in a row, which is like 3 times after the last few games being so punt light. To have so many punts this game was a little weird, but again, what are you going to do when the starters aren't in? So overall, this was a solid game. A little bit of a learning experience, I think, for Mike McDaniel, who maybe should have just focused more on running the clock out in the second half. But regardless, they did win. They won fairly comfortably. I know Tua said that he was ready to come back in, but luckily he didn't need to. Couple of notes, Jalen Waddle, he set the Dolphins record for receiving yards in 2 seasons, beating out Jarvis Landry. That was obviously inevitable unless Jalen Waddle got hurt, but nice to see him break that record. And Jarvis Landry gave him love on Twitter before the game, saying he's going to break my record with his first catch. I don't think it was quite the first catch, but it was fairly early on in the game. So Jalen Waddle, just an amazing draft pick, an amazing player, and such a big part of this offense. As I said at the top, with this win, the Dolphins move back into first place in the AFC East, currently the second seed in the AFC, pending the Chiefs playing later today. We'll see how they do. I do expect the Chiefs to win over the Rams, especially without Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp, but crazy things have happened, right? But regardless, the last 6 games of the season are going to prove who this team is. They have 8 wins already. Again, best start in 24 years, but they need to defeat the 49ers. They need to beat the Patriots, and they need to beat the Bills in Buffalo, and then finish off the Jets to have any chance of winning this division. But that's okay. Listen, if this team is a Super Bowl contender, which I do think they are, they're going to have to beat the best of the best teams in the playoffs. So it's fine that the situation is a little tougher now. The schedule gets a little more difficult going down the stretch because you want to see how this team stacks up against other good teams. I think they stack up well. I think they will play well. They already beat Baltimore. They already beat Buffalo. They beat New England in week 1. So I'm excited to see how the season ends. Hopefully it won't end in heartbreak. I don't think it will, but we will see. And at the end of the day, this has been the most fun Dolphin season, at least since they made the playoffs with Adam Gase in 2016 when Jay Ajayi was running all over the place, but perhaps ever with how things have gone in the games that they've won. So I'm very excited to see how this finishes out and see if the Dolphins, 1, can make the playoffs, and 2, can make a real run at the Super Bowl here. So let me know your thoughts about this game in the comments section down below. If you liked it, please subscribe. We cover all the major sports. We have a lot of World Cup coverage happening on the channel right now. Obviously, the World Cup's very exciting. USA tied England, or drew England, however you say it, which feels like a win for that particular sport, given the history there. So if you like sports, Sarah here in Wicked Good Sports. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheFakeMar. It's BMARR. Channel is on Twitter at Wicked Sport and OG Everything. Instagram Wicked Everything. Twitch is twitch.tv/Wicked Everything. And we have our blog, wickedgoodeverythingsports.com. Follow us on TikTok at Wicked Good Sports and at Wicked Good Everything. With all that out of the way, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.